using LDA, you will not much find in the books of management, because this is a 2021 paper written by an IT professor. So it will take some time to come in the books. After the topic modeling, he mapped topics with constructs. Then he did an inter-judge reliability. We got two people to confirm that what he is saying is right or wrong. Inter-judge reliability. And then he developed polarity scores from the text, and based on that he run the regression model. Of course there were 3 4 more steps. So you see, it's a qual study completely converting into a quant study. This is another new emerging area of research. If you go back and you remember what is a qualitative study, any study which is coming from text, any study which is coming from theory is a qualitative study. But technique like this, or if you have ever heard about a technique called as MASM, that is also qual study, not qual, but yeah, I'll say secondary data which leads to hypothesis. These are very, very new emerging areas, and I'm lucky to have papers on both. So yeah, but they are under process. Maybe they will come up after
Ma'am, you had a paper on
website.
Masam, right? With Professor
Yeah, I have
Yogesh
a paper
Dwivedi.
in MASM. Yes, MASM came just 23 December, and this will just appear maybe in few months or maybe early of 2025.
I
So
managed to get a copy of that paper. I have one question on the netnography.
yes,
The
yes, yes.
first step after scraping the Twitter data is codification, right? So the qualitative aspect till the time that topic modeling is coming, there is
Hmm.
no difference between an interview script and the Twitter comments because they need to be codified the same way. They
No,
need
no,
to
I'll tell
be
you what is the difference.
emerging
In
things.
interview, you will do between 20 to 25 people. But when you are doing topic modeling, okay, or when you are doing netnography, so I believe in one of my paper we have analyzed 75 articles, or in current paper we are analyzing 3000 plus Reddit reviews. Quantification amount of data is huge. Then interview is done under a controlled way. You are going to that people, and this is done on a field study. You would have read in the very beginning, this is a field study जो लोग असली में on the real life they are saying. It is kind of, you're preparing to do an interview, but when you're doing ethnography, it is something which people are actually writing. Nobody thinks ki what I'm writing on Twitter, some researcher nonsense, people will be analyzing that. It's a field study, and we'll say it is a lab study. Understood the difference?
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, definitely. Yeah, authenticity could be questionable. uh, the knowledge of the person. So when you are saying consumer behavior, topic modeling would be better, but if you're talking about some expert opinion, then interview will be better. Then ethnography will fail, because people who are writing on Twitter are not experts.
In case of Twitter, it is more like wisdom of crowds, which is being
Yes, but if
synthesized, right?
let's say I want to understand what they feel about Tanish, Twitter is good. If I want to know what people are thinking about mobile or 5G, people have opinion there. So yeah, these are
Correct.
like,
But how is it different than me going to Prolific and collecting data using a survey? I mean, it is almost the same
yeah.
thing, right?
So I'll tell you, Prolific is a company. Simply understand. I'm going to pay them, and they are going to collect the data as I tell them. So I'll tell them, okay, I want people who are from the 18 to 25, 35 age group, who are male or who are working in IT. So Prolific is basically a data collection, uh, I'll say, helper. Okay. So I can pay them, and they will find the people that I want for them, fulfill my data. Because in certain kind of research, let's say my research topic is I want to check the impact of having an uh, child with autism and work life balance, something like this. Let's say I have a very unique topic. How will I find on real life? No, very difficult. So it's a brokerage agency. I'll just tell them the demand and they'll find people, recruit people, and collect data for us. Or maybe
Right.
even in the company. So one of my friend was telling, he has friends in bank, but he's unable to collect data from banks. So in such cases, like just go to Prolific, send them that this is the data I want. They'll find the people and yeah, they'll get it done. So it's a data collection mechanism, which is a market research survey tool. Understood the difference?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, this is another type of new emerging technique, qualitative leading to quantitative, and this is one technique. Another technique that what we are doing is we'll scrap, uh, one is Twitter, one is scrap all Scopus papers plus Web of Science papers, and then do the same. Or I do netnography. So netnography is basically done through ProQuest. Were you asking about ProQuest and you said Prolific or?
No, ma'am. Deliberately prolific because in
Okay.
IS field, prolific is an accepted source. Many A
Yes,
star papers
it's not
also
a
there,
source.
which are
Again, I'll say it's an accepted company that we believe their data.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
So ProQuest is a good source. So let's say I recently did a study to understand what people are thinking about metaverse. So I wanted to read all the blogs, I wanted to read all the newspapers, I wanted to read all the magazines, blah blah blah. ProQuest is a huge database. So if this is my area, this is again a qualitative study, I will do through ProQuest. So different objective leads to different data sources. Now, when we are saying qualitative study, there are two parts to this. A lot of confusion is there in the market. So, when I say qualitative study, there are two parts to qualitative study. The first part is the data collection part. So, recently I had a friend and she was very much confused that she has done a podcast and what is the data analysis or conduction technique. So there are two parts. One is data collection, what is data analysis. So data collection could be something. So basically I want is something is a text. Okay, I need is a text. Now text could come from Twitter, Amazon, whatever on the earth I want to scrap. It Yeah, recently I'm also working on a paper where I have scrapped Google Play reviews. So if I go for an app, I will scrap the reviews on the Google Play. Another is ProQuest, where I will get the newspaper data, article, blog, magazine, everything on it. Okay. And third is, now let's talk about the old methods, which is maybe a focus group. One more new method I missed is a broadcast, focus group, interview, and all the old traditional techniques. Once you have got this data, how are you going to analyze that data? That is another thing. So, for example, for the first two, I'll be using maybe structural topic modeling, which is done through R, or I will use topic modeling using LDA, which is supposed to go from Python. Now, these are softwares, okay? Technique and then softwares also I'm writing.
ma'am. Quick question: what does LDA stand for?
Latent dry text allocation. Latent dry text allocation. It is a method of identifying common topics. If we have some time, I can explain this in detail also. So it what goes, okay, if I just Google quickly, sorry, this is a word file. I'll just go to Google. Now, what you have asked me is I took 2 years to find the meaning of this word. it's not very clear. So what is this latent data allocation is, let's say there you have a bunch of papers. Okay. So what it will do is it will go to each and every paper. Let me pick this picture is the best picture ever which explains LDA. So what it does is it will go to all the paper, all the research, all the website one by one. And if you see these colors, right, it will find, okay, yellow color people, pink, green, blue. Yellow is all about gene, DNA, genetics, similar topics. Then pink color words like life, evolve, organism, similar topics. Then similar topics, then similar topics. So it's a technique where it picks up words within the document and clubs those words across the document to find the topics. Okay?
Essentially, this is textual coding, right? I mean, using
Yeah, yeah.
Python.
Textual coding done by Python. We are not doing. Okay? So this is done through Python. We can't do human wise. Now, when I do human wise, there could be two methods. One is a grounded theory method, where I am doing human based coding, or there could be a thematic analysis. Here I am reading line by line and I am doing coding. But please understand, this can be only done when you have a 20 data, 50 data, 100 data. When you are talking about large data, then you can't do human coding. Like you will finish your entire life, will finish doing this coding. So believing that there is a large data which is being generated, believing that big data is the current norm, these new techniques are also popping up. Of course, older techniques are good, but you can't do, if I say, okay, just go and do it on 3000 articles, very difficult. Please let me know if you
Ma'am,
have some.
normally we establish inter-rater reliability when it comes to the standard techniques like thematic analysis or interview
Yes.
analysis. In this
Yes.
case, where we are using LDA, what is the equivalent of inter-rater reliability to
No,
establish that
we
our
don't need inter-rater reliability here. Here, in this paper, what they have done is, let's say I have topic 1, topic 2, topic 3 from Python. Now, I am saying topic 1 is user experience. Okay, I am saying. But I don't know, is it user experience or is it user satisfaction? Now, for naming this, I will hire two judges. Please tell us that this topic is talking about user experience or user satisfaction. So they will give this rating, and that goes to the interjudge reliability. That what should I give it a name? It's also a nomological validity. It's a combination of
right?
nomological validity in sync with interjudge reliability. Otherwise, we don't need. We just yeah. So even in my papers, I have never used judges. We have just done through brainstorming and mutual discussion. Is it okay? Shall we move ahead?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So let me just see the Gmeet if we have some more questions. Oh, we don't have a question. Yeah, thank you, Melissa. I hope this is altogether new than what you have ever heard about qualitative field. Okay. So now when you're doing this, how this is supposed to be done? Let's say you choose a podcast or a focus group or an interview. Now this is a data collection technique. So what are the steps is, first you need to have a interview guide which will have how you are going to conduct interview along with the question. Rather than, if you want to remember, I can just name it interview guide, a bracket transcript, or yeah, I think that's the thing. And when you're having that, you should also, in addition to have, record this. Recording is a mandate in a qualitative analysis if you're doing some interview. Voice recording, video recording, whatever is the user is available. Anonymity is must. And then after the recording, transcription will happen. So that's what I'm saying. What I'm writing is this is what happens. But if you go to a paper, they will glorify it like so many things, and you will always keep on wondering, array, what they have done, I'm not able to understand. So yeah, that is how research is. Sometimes in my papers also I write so complex. So not just because I want to write complex, because I have a target of a journal which has a certain expectation from me, or I am sometimes writing complex to avoid plagiarism. So, I will always say for research design, try looking at some mid journals. Their writing is much better than higher journals. Higher journals are very good for research gap, but not extremely good for research design. So, you have to transcribe that, and then you have to apply whatever data analysis technique you want. So when you are doing data analysis, you can do grounded theory or thematic analysis. Let us see one example. So for example, this is the transcript that I got. It's a random transcript generated. So what I do is I prefer to have a. I'll just question back. Is my Excel visible?
Yes, ma'am.
So always remember, I started with the research question. So my questions should map to my research. Now, for one research question, I could have two, three, or just one question. Now, that is coming from your literature or your need of the study. But if you make a table like this, you will never fail. Trust me. Why people fail is their research, their questions. When I say question, this is your interview question. People fail because at the end of the data analysis, they are not able to map their interview question to the research question. So, I am recommending here, write your research questions first and then map to each interview question. If you are having 8 questions, they should map to your research question. Then you will never, ever, ever go wrong. If ever, come back to me, but you will never go wrong because that is
Ma'am, one quick question. Normally, in a paper, there are not more than 2 or 3 research questions. Usually, there are 7 to 8
yes,
research. So, like in case of quantitative, it is said that for a given construct,
yes.
it should have at least a minimum of 1:3. If there is one construct, there should be minimum 3 survey questions. Is there any equivalence in
Okay,
case of
now
research
I'll tell
question?
you. No, no, no. So there is a little confusion. So there is one thing called as a research question. Research question is to what is impact of AI on leadership. Now this is research question. Okay, I might pursue this research question quantitatively, or I might pursue this qualitatively. Okay. Now when I'm doing qualitative, I will do interview. So I'm saying for interview for this research question, you should have 2 to 3 interview question for one research question. Okay. In quant, you might have a model here. In model, you have let's say 4 to 5 construct. So for usual rule of thumb is each one construct minimum 2 Likert items. So why we suggest so minimum need is 2, okay, but we always recommend 3, 4, 5 because when you are doing data analysis, we always expect some items to be deleted. That's why we'll say always have 3 or 4 so that let's say even 1 or 2 gets deleted, we have 2. If you have 2 and 1 gets deleted, oh, your model is dead.
Yeah, also for the case of composite reliability, to attain composite
Yeah,
reliability. I agree. Yes.
your model is dead. Your factor loading won't help. Composite reliability, very late thing. Your factor loading will be 1, which cannot be possible. First step is the factor loading, right? Then we go to
True.
the reliability and validity. So if you'll follow the Hare books, if you just look at Hare et al. 2011 book, the first step is you should check factor loading, and factor loading should be greater than 0.7. And if your composite reliability and ABE and Cronbach alpha is good, 0.6 is acceptable. This is first. Then you go to reliability and validity. Then comes reliability, Cronbach alpha, and CR and AB and all those things. Okay. So minimum is requirement is true, but we on a safer side, a teacher will always say have three, four, five, because if some gets deleted because of this, if one, that means your entire effort has gone. You can't do you won't do the data collection again, right? So yeah. So qualitatively, we expect that you should have one, two, three questions. Maybe in some cases you only need one question, fair enough. Sometimes you would have two questions. Then you can have their responses. You can write them like this. Then you'll code the responses. So I added a new column that okay, this person is talking about this. Now here is the beauty. Now we have talked about two approaches: grounded theory approach, and we have also talked about the thematic analysis. Grounded theory versus thematic analysis. Okay, now just see how they both are different. If I open a picture, so in grounded theory, we will do coding, categorizing, and seeing how the categories are related. So, grounded theory is more of an exploratory thing. We don't start with any idea in the mind, but the thematic analysis, you can also do it from GPT will create all these codes and everything, but trust me, I won't recommend doing that, because Turnitin can catch that very very easily. So this is also grounded theory versus thematic. I need a table for that. This is phenomenology. Ah, yes. So in thematic, so that was grounded theory. But in thematic, you will do coding. You will generate themes. In grounded, necessarily you will not generate themes. Because the difference is this: in grounded, you will start with some random understanding and you may end up with a model. You may not end up with a model. You may solve a proposition or you may not. Thematic is much structured, I will say. You will have themes, you will have name of the themes, you will have something to report. So things like that, both are okay, both are good, but uh, uh, these both are very subjective in nature. That is what I will say. So for example, if I'm saying my screen is let's say if I ask you what is the color of my screen now, somebody will say white, somebody will say yellow because I'm looking at this, somebody will say it is multicolored screen, and all three of us are correct. That is where qualitative is complex perspectives. So what we can do is something like this: we will just add some lines and try to see what this person is talking about, and then maybe this point is similar to this point somewhere, this point is similar to this point here. So we will club them into themes that okay, landscape changes, this is talking, modern ports, he's talking, railway system, he's talking, and these all. So this was level 1 coding. We called it axial coding. So in some papers you would have heard this term called as axial coding. So if I just show you here, you will see example. If you can see this, so you collect the data after the first coding, axial coding, and then selective coding. So after this is axial coding, then we merge the axial coding. So these were the axial codings, and I have merged the axial codings to generate what? Selective coding. That okay, these papers are talking about transportation issues, these are talking about policy, this is talking about culture. So then you can, this is about interviewer 1, okay, then similarly interviewer 2, then similarly interviewer 3, and then you will map both the interviewers to all the interviewers, that okay, these are the codes combined of all the interviewers, and then becomes your summary. And again, as I said, your code and theme should match to the research question where you are started. If it is not mapping, no, your research is questionable. So again, come back and see, okay, this is what we started with. Am I getting the response for what I started with? So key technology challenges, okay, people are saying automation is a problem. Bureaucracy challenges, okay, this is big. Local communities, this is big. So we started with formulation of the question based on the research question. We did the codings, we generated the themes, thematic structure, final thematic structure, and it should map back to our research questions. This is how a pure hardcore qualitative analysis looks like. Yes, so that was everything from my side. Let me just show you some papers. One more thing, always remember, in qualitative there is nothing called as hypothesis. So they have a thing called as proposition, that I'm proposing this. Okay, some discussion of literature, then the proposition. That okay, I'm proposing this, and for testing my proposition. So now if I have a proposition here, one more thing should come as an insert, proposition, which for proposition 1 this question, for proposition 2 this question, for proposition 3 this question, for proposition 4 this question, and proposition 1 and 2 are combining together to solve my research question. Am I make but this is the back end, and this is how it will look like to you, that okay, satisfaction, this is the proposition they have done. Then they will tell you that how did, and always remember, qualitative is more of an exploratory study. Our results may not come with what we started with. So I wanted to do a study on metaverse is dead. I wanted to do an ethnography last did somewhere in July 2023. We scrapped a lot of ethnography reviews, and we started with an objective of proving that metaverse is dead, because there was a news. If you are related, I'm just telling you the real life problems. Metaverse is dead. Everybody was saying last year metaverse, that Zuckerberg says it is dead. Yeah, see, remember March 2023. But when we actually collected data, and then we found that metaverse has a huge scope, then we changed our topic, we changed our idea of thinking, because there was a news but data was not mapping to the news. So yeah, we had to reiterate. And then recently our paper is coming on the metaverse. I'll just show you. So this is the real story of the back end of the paper, which you should need to know, that we never started with this idea, future of metaverse adoption, which is published now. We actually started with the concept that metaverse is dead. But when we scrapped the data, we analyzed the data, we did topic modeling, results were reversed. So we just changed the topic to the future of metaverse adoption. So you will see this, but you will never see that the person started with some other idea. So that's what I'm saying. 60% is junk what you will see in a paper. No, we don't care. Then we have to put some filler. See, this is what I did, this is what I got, then rest everything is filler. So do not be too serious about what everyone is writing. Do not read what everyone is writing until it is a seminal paper. So you should know some seminal papers of your field. So which is only five, six, not more. Rest, they will do a lot of rubbish discussions. So yeah, please let me know if you have some doubts here. One more paper was there I wanted to show you, is the ISO quali one. This is a very simple paper, not a very good quality paper, but writing is very good. They simply wanted to check that is there an impact of ISO certification. Now see, it's a raw paper, so you will see they started with a preliminary conceptual model that ISO certification will lead to perceived performance, customer trust, perceived quality, service quality, and perceived value. They started with a conceptual model. Okay, that's what I am saying. It's a raw paper. If it was a pure paper, you would never see this. They did some research, they did some interview, Some case studies, they got, propositions. Propositions were validated, and then they reflected their propositions in the form of this model. So final model is much much different than initial proposed model. 80 to 90% of the journal will give you only final model, because there was less paper. So we have a limitation that there should be 6,000 to 8,000 words. So imagine if I have the limitation, I will delete my original model, right? Because I have to fill it in 7,000 words. So you as a reader will never be able to understand how it came suddenly and how he's so perfect. No, nobody's perfect. And they found that, okay, there's a moderator effect also, degree of expertise. If a person is expertise, there will be no impact. If not expertise, there will be impact, whatever. So please understand, whether you are doing a qual paper or a quant paper, the model that you see is not the model people started with. And I can show you a lot of my papers where we started with elephant and we ended up in giraffe. So that's what I'm saying. These papers are junk at a time. Just understand what they did, how they did, and how they got the result. Yeah, I may be a lot, um, you know, making you unhappy about the things, but that's how research is. Once you enter this, you will understand. You'll never have what you started with. So, yeah, that was everything from my side. Please let me know if you have some questions, anything else, or any topic you want me to do some seminar maybe coming.
Ma'am, if you can do a method or any methods in general.
Okay, so now see, I have a two opinion here. Research method is so huge that even I have been into research for 12 years. I have only used 10% of them. 90% I have not used. So again, when I say back, how deep you want to know. So if you want to read Naresh Malhotra. It is having a chart where you will see, I think, 15 types of analysis. But why you need to know a 15 type of analysis? Like, I know these analysis because I'm a teacher and I'm supposed to teach research methodology. If you ask a lot of people, I know there's a faculty, I will not name. She's into top researchers of India and she knows nothing about smart PLS. She only knows the smart PLS. She has never ever done any other technique in her life, and she is recently recognized by Bits Pilani. She got the best researcher award. So you can, if you will Google, you'll know her. So the point is, we don't need to know everything. I know because I want to teach research. Otherwise, you just need to be a very focused approach that, okay, my field of research is doing this. This is how people are doing in my field. For example, we have never done ethnography till date. Sorry, ethnography. Ethnography is a very good field of research, but I've never done, and I don't want to do it also in my life. So, if you want to know what are different types of research, always I will suggest go back to Market Research by Naresh Malhotra. One book is this. One book is Multivariate Analysis by Hare. I've read all these books, and one is Qualitative by Saldana. And for LR, you have Creswell. And there are many more. But again, remember, you want to do PhD. I always throw this question back to everyone. My HOD asked me, you want to do a PhD or you want to do research? And I said PhD. Now I'm doing actual research. So yeah, we can do some session, but again, uh, at the end of the day, you need a person who is going to tell you what applies to your study. That is how research works, and that's why we have guide. So it is usually the responsibility of a guide to tell that, okay, this is an ocean and this is the direction you should follow. Huge. Research is huge. I know I'm not going to use all these research pedagogies in my life. So, and even experimental research is extremely tough. Now I have ventured into experiment after 12 years. So we start with a survey. So there are three types of studies, if you know. Survey, which is a descriptive rather than technical word is descriptive. exploratory, and causal. So causal is the experiment one. I'm just typing in the chat box, and now, and believe me, not one of our paper is under. I think it has just published. Yes, not under publication. It is metaverse. I will show you. It is a metaverse paper using an exploratory experimental technique. And what do you think? How much time it takes to design an experiment? I took 6 months being an experienced person also. I took 6 months to design the experiment, and then conducting the experiment, analyzing and running is altogether a different ball game. So you see, you will slowly learn all the techniques, yes, but right now in the beginning I won't ever suggest to anyone to learn all the techniques. Just do what is needed for your study. That would be my suggestion. And if you're interested, these books, nothing is better than these books. Sorry if my answer is disappointing one.
Basically, what is happening is particularly in A and A star. Like for instance, your paper in MASCM, it sparked me to see how many MASCM papers have been published.
uh,
In the last year, in all across all journals in Scopus, there are only 28 papers on MASCM published.
MASM,
Uh,
the techniques that I'm talking is na MASM, LDA, topic modeling. You will find very less paper. These are not in the books also.
correct,
These are,
correct, correct.
yes,
So these are the novelities of the field, and as young
yes,
researchers, you are not exposed to these novel techniques of or methods of conducting research. So I was
yes.
just wondering if there is a place where we can learn them because our
Yes, yes.
chances of
For
publishing.
learning, then again, as I said, we can do one-to-one sessions for each technique. But like, or I can just show you a diagram of Naresh Malhotra that okay, these are 20 techniques, but each technique is a 5 day analysis. That's how in depth it is. So when I was doing my PhD, so I'll tell you the story. I read a paper where they have done meta-analysis. If you are aware about meta-analysis,
Yes.
and I was baffled. I took a print, I spent months studying, and I could never understand how from a Scopus paper they can prove the hypothesis, because we believed survey can prove hypothesis, right? But I never understood, and I read it in 2016. I was able to do it in 2023. So it took me more than 5 6 years, and I was able to do when I got a mentor who guided me. So that is the, I'm thinking. So if you are thinking mass, one technique I don't know you're aware about, it is also an upcoming technique, is ISM. Just texted in the chat box. It is also an emerging technique. Yet now I haven't done this. I will do maybe in 1 2 years, because you have to learn a new technique, then find its applicability. So each paper is a new PhD to us. So yeah, I hope you're not overwhelmed by the information. Oh, I'll just share my
Thank.
screen. I'll talk about that paper which I was telling, the experiment one. It recently got published, and we took 6 months. Here we wanted to test the impact of metaverse in a 2D and 3D uh, scenario. So first I have to find 2D versus 3D. Then I had to find that app. So we chose Nike app and we choose McDonald app. That these two apps should be there on metaverse also, and these two apps should be there in the mobile phone also. Finding app took me 2 months. Some app was there on metaverse. For example, H&M is there on metaverse, but H&M is not practicable in like human figure. So we analyze so many products and brands. Then we wanted to see one more angle to this, which is temporal distance and conspicuous consumption. So I wanted to see if I get the food today immediately. I'm hungry. Let's say I'm hungry. I want the food right now. But let's say shoe is a thing that I want, but not immediately. Nobody who buys a shoe immediately. People buy a shoe. If I get after 1 day or 2 day, I'm okay. So the temporal distance of getting a product. So finding apps, finding products which are on metaverse, finding app plus product which can satisfy my condition. Trust me, it took me 6 months. So I will always say never ever go to experiment in the beginning. So yeah, you can start with a simple survey. Survey is the easiest. Then comes a qualitative study. Then comes the experiment. That is how the sequence I would suggest. So, uh, okay, if we have no questions, we'll close this off. And I would request you all to maybe reach out one to one on to me if you want me to do some session, because I'm just a lot of you know I am starting after a long break due to some of my personal achievements, I will say. So yeah, give me what is the need of the pulse of the market. Yeah, one more thing I just want to say. I just had a word, Melissa. I think we can't hear you if you're saying something. Yeah, I just had a word to with one of a person 10 minutes before the session, and he posed me a question. He want to do again a PhD on a DBA on a generative AI topic. So yeah, AI is good, but trust me, guys, it is too much overrated. So uh, yes, if you want, you can do. Nobody, I'm not going to stop you. But if you want to be relevant for the next 20 years, pick a hardcore topic. I will show you through proof. Gartner hype cycle, and I'll just show you Gartner hype cycle 2024 and 23. Let me show you 23 first.
AI is going down actually.
Sorry.
AI
Yeah,
is
it
on the
went
decline.
down. Absolutely, that's the point I'm trying to make. Every student of mine want to do PhD in AI. So in 23, AI was here, which was the peak of the inflated curve. But if you look at 24 and 25, it is dead. I strongly believe AI dead means it's just so ordinary. And now if you see Gen AI is here, and then it leads to trough of disillusionment. So I had talked in one of my session. There is a thing called as uncanny valley paradox. AI has suddenly become the talk of the town. So there's an uncanny valley paradox. If you see, this chart is exactly mapping to what Gartner is saying. So uncanny valley paradox says people like everything, go to the peak, and then they suddenly think it's dead. Then maybe they will revive. So I very strongly believe this is what is going to happen to Gen AI. It's going to the trough of disillusionment. So okay, if you want to use AI, use it, but just keep it 20% of your research. Let your 80% of the research be pure management research. If your 80% research is AI, just like a lot of people, I recently met a person. He did PhD during COVID, and his topic was COVID-19 and whatever. Just tell me today how relevant his topic is today. If you open your mouth, I trust me, I did a paper in COVID-19, and it was an excellent paper with an IIM Lucknow professor. It hasn't been published. If I give it to anybody, they just slap it on our face that COVID is dead now. That is what will happen to AI in next 2 years. So please use AI only as a tool for 20% part of your research. More focus should be on the human abilities. It will be just an obsolete topic in next 4 5 years. When I say obsolete, too common, no novelty. Just like COVID is, nobody wants to hear about COVID. And that guy said that his career suffered because he did a PhD of COVID, and those papers are not publishable. So look at this angle also.
I so resonate with it. Actually, in the 2020s, green IT was a thing. There are so many scholars who published papers on green IT, and suddenly it died without a
Yes.
trace. And we have seen this. So normally, my professors advise me, and probably it resonates with exactly what you said, ma'am. Is you have to research on a phenomena, not on a
Yes,
technology. That is how you
absolutely.
see.
Technology will come and go. Computers came, AI will come, mobile come, pager come. Human behavior is going to stay. Okay. So yeah, I think it was a quick catch up. Thank you everyone for hearing to me, and if you have any questions or any suggestions, feel free to reach out to me. We will do some more sessions. I'm just trying to engage more into research back with the students now.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank
Thank
you so
you,
much.
Professor.
Thank you, and I hope now you are not under the syndrome of I know